Good morning, everyone. Sound check, we can all hear each other, yes? All right, super. Call the meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Curley.
Member Bratley's been excused for the beginning of the meeting. Julie Bear,
Here.
Ashley Pascal,
Here.
Susan McAlpine,
Here.
Diane Singer. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we continue with the agenda, I want to remind all of us and anybody that happens to be watching that because we're all remote, it may be a little bit of action here. So if everybody makes sure we either hear them, if I miss a hand that goes up mechanically through the program, please wave or do anything that makes sure that I don't overlook anyone is what I'm intending. Thank you. All right, agenda adoption. Looking for a motion, please.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I have a question.
Please.
I have a question on the financial report in the consent agenda. Do you want me to pull that out of the consent agenda?
Please.
And can we make that decision now, or do you want me to wait for that item? Okay.
No, you can make a motion that the agenda be adopted minus or without including the consent, the financial report.
Okay.
Yep.
So
you'll want to move that.
Sure, I'll make a motion that we adopt the agenda, except for within the consent agenda item, we pull out the financial report item.
That's fine. Thank you.
Great.
And audience of any citizen, with Nicole absent, Ashley, you have some experience. Would you like to read this?
I'm happy. I can do that as well.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I think we have a motion from Ashley. And do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0 that we pull the financial report. And we will continue then with the audience of any citizen. Thank you, Ashley.
All right. Let me get this pulled up. Okay, this is the time for the public to comment. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Citizens wishing to comment will be limited to one opportunity to speak, and the board limits the time for individual presentations to 3 minutes and the total time for all presentations to 30 minutes.
Thank you. Let's poll the different campuses, and then we'll go to Ms. Curley for any phone-ins. Colorado City, good morning, Dr. Hamlin.
Good morning, Madam President, members of the board, and Dr. Culver. There are no citizens in Colorado City who wish to address the board at this time.
All right, thank you. Lake Havasu.
Madam Chair, members of the board, there are no citizens present wishing to address the board.
Thank you. The screen shows you way in the back, and I'm trying to figure out, is she there or did she send a rep? Thank you. Nickel Campus Kingman. Let's just look for that for the campus. And I see Tremaine right down there in front.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. There are no citizens in Kingman wishing to address the board.
Thank you. And perhaps Jacob, Dr. Crawford was also there to speak for that. I'm sorry. It's hard to see with the little tiny figures there. And Bullhead City.
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. There are no citizens of Bullhead City wishing to address the board at this time.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Curley, do we have any phone-ins? Can't hear you, Amy. You're muted. There you
Madam
go.
Chair, there is a citizen in the Zoom audience, Rob Christensen. His mic has been turned on, so this would be the time to speak, Mr. Christensen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chair and the other members of the Mohave College Board of Governors. I wanted to speak today instead of April, since I'm going to be gone on an international trip, regarding the proposed tax increase, property tax increase. I submitted a letter to the Board of Governors stating my current opposition to the proposed property tax increase. I believe there are a number of questions that need to be answered before any property tax increase is instituted, and those questions are outlined in the correspondence that I sent to the Board of Governors. In addition, I believe it's a poor timing to raise the property tax. The governing board has not even selected a permanent president this time, so I think it would be more strategic and advantageous to consider any property tax increase after a president is selected and installed. So that way there's more transparency and continuity in terms of policy emanating from the Board of Governors to the president and to his or her subordinates. And so those are my concerns and why I'm opposed to the proposed property tax increase at the current time. I want to thank the Board of Governors and Amy for permitting me to speak via Zoom today. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you, and safe travels to you. And while we are not to respond in total, I want to make sure that the process is understood. There will be a hearing in April, and of course, we've heard your comments, so we understand that you won't be there. And then when the item comes up for actual adoption, then anybody that's heard you today will have heard those comments, and they will also be considered. So thank you for taking the time to come in today, or to call in today, and please have a safe trip. All right, on to Faculty Council. Dr. Culver, I bet you're there somewhere. There
Yes,
you are.
I'm here.
Good morning.
Good morning, all board and Dr. Clover and group. We have not had a faculty council meeting this month. Our last one was in April. And since we took spring break in the middle and we're now at midterm and starting the next term, 8 weeks, we have foregone the faculty council meeting for the month of March. We will meet again in April, and we're all working hard for you.
There's no doubt in our mind that you continue to work hard, whether you meet monthly or not.
Yes, we do. You can see it with our students. We're getting ready for the recognition of students at Bullhead and all of the other campuses. So that's always an exciting time for us to celebrate our students.
Do you have a date set for that? Or maybe it's on a calendar I haven't received yet.
I don't have it off the top of my head, but it is in April, I believe.
Okay. And I'm sure that'll be distributed to the board members so that we know when that date is. Thank you.
Maybe Tim even knows. I'm not certain, Dr. Clover.
It'll come up between now and then, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for your time. Next, we have Charity Adams from the Staff Council report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Culver, my name is Lisa Barnes, and I am a Vice President of Staff Council speaking on behalf of Charity. She wasn't able to make it today.
Okay, thanks, Lisa.
Of course, thank you. I want to let you guys know that our next Staff Council meeting is going to be May the 20th at 3 o'clock. And recently we have adopted a virtual suggestion box. And so we are getting suggestions and we're working through those as we receive them. So thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you for representing her, Lisa. We'll go into the consent agenda, and as we looked at it earlier to adopt it, we see that the financial report was drawn and pulled, and the meeting minutes, human resources, and enrollment report were accepted. If you see me turning my head, I want to make sure you realize there's no one else in the room with me, but I'm working from 2 iPads. And so it's easier for me to do it that way than to put it in front of me. So don't think I'm ignoring anyone. Thanks. All right, financial report. Ashley, you had a question or discussion?
I did have a question about the revenues page, and I suppose it would be for both, but especially the most recent report, February. I realize this is draft, so I just wanted to see if we could have a little explanation around specifically the revenues for the tuition and fees. It caught my attention knowing that we're approaching the end of the year, and it looks like we're only about halfway into our expected revenue. So I looked back at previous years for this same time period, and we had collected closer to 90% of our expected revenue by this time period. So can Dr. Culver or perhaps Ms. Pruitt, if someone could educate me on this, please.
So for February draft, I am seeing year-to-date percent recognized for tuition and fees as 89%. That might be tracking a little bit more closely to what you had seen, but maybe you saw that for January. I'll have to go back and check and see. We have it against prior year and to the right there, and that's at 101%. So it was definitely higher last year. I'll have to check the February when it starts to solidify, which actually now would be a good time for me to check with the team. Our bursar system is separate from our financial system. And so we wait until the month closes. For February, we didn't have a ton of time with spring break. And so we typically wait until the month closes, and then we do a big import. And then we start auditing that with the remainder of the month. And so you might see a better outlook in the February final than you're seeing in the February draft, but certainly something that I can look into and report back on. I couldn't, there's so much data in there. I don't know that I'd be able to tell you. I can talk to our bursar about the balance between the revenue and the refunds, and after it firms up, if it's still looking, a little lower than last year, what may have happened, and provide a better explanation.
You're right. I was looking at pictures so when I look at the bar graph, the tuition and fees looks like 10 million out of 20 million. But you're right, looking at the actual numbers, it does say 89% recognized. So yes, sorry about that. I was only looking at the charts.
The other thing that is also occurring to me that Tim may be able to speak to better than I can is that it's possible that we are trying to move some of the programs over to 8-week and 8-week, which would shift some of the tuition revenue received later into the term. And so that may have an impact. So instead of seeing a typical 16-week, you're seeing a big revenue lift in the first month. As we create classes that are more accessible and we move to more 8-week scheduling, you'll see it more trickle in throughout the term. So I don't know if that had an impact too, Tim, if I'm speaking out of turn with that.
No, Madam Chair and members of the board, that's partially correct. I mean, it's correct what she said, and that's partially the reason. The other thing too that I think you're still not seeing yet is summer tuition revenue, which will be coming in a little bit later as well, and that's why it's at 89%. So we still don't have all of summer tuition revenue in either. So
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay. Any other, well, no, any other questions about the financial report? Because that was the one that was pulled. All right. So now I would guess we're going to accept the consent agenda items as presented now that we've pulled it earlier and discussed it, or we're not going to accept them. So where are we with wanting to confirm A, B, C, and D are accepted? We'll need a motion for that.
I motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented in 5, 6, 7, 8, A, B, C, and D.
Thank you for being so helpful and specific. Second for that one. All right, I'm going to second it and let's move on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, now we're into our board reports. I've asked that we have that item in here. We try to do this every election year so the general public is aware of it. Ours is a little different than the K-12 system in that our elections are run through the, well, everybody's election is, but our process is run through the county elections department, Mr. Temper's office and his successor. So I want to make sure that anyone publicly is aware that the 6-year terms of District 2 and District 5 seats on Mohave Community College, Mohave County Community College District Governing Board are scheduled to expire in December 31. On nonpartisan candidates, we always recall that we are nonpartisans, are available from the elections department online and in person. And it's really important we remember that, again, because your friends on K-12 boards might say, oh no, call Mr. Warren. Well, that's not where we go. So the election nomination paper can be filed between June 8th and July 6th. The number of candidate signatures on those election petitions are 68 for District 2, which is my district, and 86 for District 5, which would be Dr. Singer's district. And those petitions have to be circulated in person rather than online because the state has not yet come up with a solution for nonpartisan petitions to be signed online. There's people looking into that evidently that are in that area, but right now we do paper petitions. All the packet is available, or you can call the elections department and they're very helpful. So thank you. Susan, next item.
And Dr. Bear, I was going to ask you if you could define the districts for people who may be listening.
Well, District 2 would be anybody who lives within the limits of Bullhead City, which is my district. And District 5 is Dr. Singer's, and the exact perimeter is everywhere, but it would align with the supervisor's district for District 5. And so do you, Diane, does that mean your district comes up into Mohave Valley? Are you that person?
Yeah, it kind of goes up a little bit north and then over to Yucca as well as Lake Havasu.
Okay, thank you. Speaking for District 2, I have made it very clear publicly in my different communities down here, and I encourage anybody that knows people in Bullhead, though you might not live here, of course, to also make it real clear. I am not seeking election again. I will be finishing this term and not seeking re-election. I have been approached by one person who's definitely already taken out the packet and is in the process. And I think there are a couple of others from the feedback I'm getting. So I want anybody that lives within the confines of Bullhead District 2 to be assured that all candidates are welcome. And again, it's a nonpartisan. And as a board member, I do not endorse any candidate. That wouldn't be appropriate for a board member to endorse someone unless there was no one else that ended up filing, of course, because we welcome anyone that files for District 2 and or District 5. So, okay, Susan, now what else do you have?
First, Dr. Bear, thank you very much for your years of service. I know that it's been more than one election cycle, so thank you very much. First thing I need to remind everybody on the board is that our all trustee meeting is still scheduled for the Doubletree Hilton in Mesa on April 22nd to Thursday, April 23rd. And yeah, you only have a couple of days. If you are interested in going, you have to have all of your information into the office of the president by March 23rd, which is what, Monday, right? Today's the 20th.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll all be able to meet up down there in Mesa. And then, Dr. Bear, I think you were taking the next section of this?
Yeah, I was going to remind all of us that we have that Congress coming up in Chicago, October 21 through 24. And there was a call for presentations, which we're hoping that Mohave College or Mohave Community College has done several in the past and been well received on each occasion. So be it a new president and what other persons representing the college faculty and staff would be the, excuse me, I dropped my pen, would be the actual presenters, and a board member in attendance at the conference is, I always say, a token member of that presentation, and certainly welcome to participate in the development of it. But typically the token introduces the committee that put together the presentation. And so if any of you or all of you, whoever is going to that in October, make sure that you kind of speak up as soon as possible so we know if we should proceed with that. My understanding is, in the past at least, you're required to have a board member in attendance and as a member of that committee. Has anybody made up their mind yet if they're going in October? Or
Dr. Bear, I believe it's in Chicago this year, correct?
Oh, yes. What did I say?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you may have, and I may have not just heard it.
I knew I read the dates from my other screens. Yeah, thank you.
And I would just like to confirm with you what you had to say is these presentations are really well accepted and looked forward to for a rural community to compete with and get really accolades for their presentations. Hopefully our staff will put together something within the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tracks that they'll be offering. And as far as my representation, as with Louisiana, I don't want to commit to anything early. So I'll just leave it open that way, if that's okay, as far as being a representative from AACCT, that would possibly be a person who would be attending.
Okay. Obviously, as our rep, we would anticipate that if you did go, you would be the presenter, the team member, I should say. Ashley, you're her backup. How are you feeling about that?
For the ACC, I don't believe I'll be able to attend this year at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Nicole's not here yet, but obviously she also would be more than welcome to do that. And she may have an interest, I'm not certain. I probably will go, which will shock all of you because in my 18 years, I've not done that a lot, but I think that this would be a good time to go. So if all else fails, I would be going. And Diane, were you planning on going? Where are you, Diane?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, that's where we are, and we'll hear from Nicole at some point. We'll remind her again, of course, when we see her. And if she's definitely going, then she would obviously be the backup for the third person, because I think did we establish that, or was it Diane? I'm sorry. Whoever was the backup to the backup would be the person if she is available. And I have to say she, because we're all 5 female trustees. And last resort backup would be me, number 5. So let's keep it in that rank, and please let Amy know when you're ready to make a specific decision on that. Tim, asking you, because as you pointed out, you won't be the president. Hopefully the new president would want to do this, but is there any dynamic activity going on that you're hoping that you could encourage someone within our structure to start thinking this way, and then the program would be developed and the new president would be swept into it, let's say?
Yeah, so the proposal needs to be submitted by May 15th. So the new president would have to be swept into it. And but I think a good safe topic for us, because we seem to be doing so well with collaborative solutions for workforce needs. I think that's a topic that I lean toward, but I would talk with the team here and see what they think. And I believe whoever the new president is would be willing to be swept into that conversation.
Good. I like that language. Well, knowing that we have, 6 weeks then, when you tell the ACCT that, yes, we're going to put together a presentation in the topic, how much more is committed then? Assuming that we would carry it forward, and we would anticipate that a new president also would carry it forward, how much work would need to be expended through the end of your term, if we want to delineate it, so that you aren't overburdened and yet we can get the ball rolling? Is it something you are comfortable accepting?
Of course. Yeah, the team and I will put something together and make the proposal and get it in on or before May 15th. And then I'm confident that we will, well, I shouldn't say I'm confident. I'm confident that we will get accepted again, and that we will just move forward with the scheduling once the 5 of you decide who's going to go. And
Sure.
Amy, I say we, but that really means Amy. She will work through the scheduling piece along with the new president, and we will go and do another fantastic job. I'll tell you, there are board members from Maricopa who actually come to our presentation because they are so impressed with what we talk about.
That is exactly, I remember that when I went to the Las Vegas conference. And again, it's because of the quality of presentations that you and your team members have put together that I have no doubt will be accepted. Thank you. And thank you for your efforts.
Of course.
I appreciate it. All right. So Amy, if we have that straight, we have a team ready to go, etc. And I will be attending the conference and would be the team member if none of the other 4 board members choose to go. I would prefer they do it because they are the backups for Susan. And if Susan finds out she can go, then we just go right down that list.
Yes,
Everybody
ma'am.
with that?
Yes,
Yes. Head shaken. Good. Thanks. All right. Ashley, search committee co-chair.
All right. So the President's Search Committee has had the privilege and also the very the challenge of selecting the 4 finalists that will be visiting our college next week, actually. And so the visits to the campuses will be open forums. And those forums are open to community members and the college students, of course, and staff and faculty. And I do want, for anyone watching our meeting right now, the information on the forums is on our website so that you can attend or watch the forums on our YouTube channel. And there will be opportunity for you to provide input on what you see so that we can use your input in our deliberations as the board. And that will be very helpful for us in our decision making. So that is happening next week, and the board will be conducting our interviews on Thursday, which is not open to the public, but.
Yes, exactly. Great summary. Thanks for everything you and everyone on the committee's done. It's been a very smooth process. I am meeting, for transparency reasons, it's not necessary, but I want to assure you that I am meeting with Dr. Thomas this afternoon via this process, just to make sure that we've got everything lined up as we had planned. And this morning, as you can see from our agendas, that we have an executive session later this morning with the attorney who is developing the template, refining the template for our contract, so that that process is relatively seamless. And thanks to Dr. Tim also for guiding that and giving us lots of good input. And I think that pretty well covers it. So I'll see all of you next Thursday in person in Kingman. And we're going to start interviewing at 9. So I plan to be there no later than 8:30, but depending on the pass at Coyote and whether or not we can get through in a timely manner, I hope to be there by 8. So,
Madam Chair,
yes, please.
the first interview starts at 8:30.
8:30. I'm okay. That's why I was thinking 8.
9 o'clock would be Friday morning for deliberations.
Thank you. Well, and I've seen 2 things. I'm glad you mentioned that. Somewhere I have 1 p.m. on Friday. So I was going to check with you, but now that you've mentioned it, our Friday meeting will be 9 then. Something that came through at one time had said 1 p.m., which I thought, oh, okay. So, all right. So yeah, I definitely will be there by 8:30, but I hope to be there even earlier, which I usually am anyway, as long as there's no problem coming up the pass. I watch that ADOT camera to see what they tell us, and usually it's late at night, but a couple of times it's been reported to me that they're coming through earlier. Anything else about that? Anybody have any questions? Trustees, you understand then you're going to be there no later than 8:15. And there'll be coffee, I'm sure, somewhere available. And we'll have a break for lunch. And the schedule's been sent out several times. Also, Ms. Curley has sent out the YouTube connections or information. So board members will not be attending the open forums, but definitely able to view them online, as will anybody in the public. And those, again, are posted on our page. Thank you. If you have any questions, that call Ms. Curley.
Madam Chair.
Please.
I failed to just publicly thank Amy for her mastermind and organization of the puzzle pieces and Tetris game that had to be maneuvered for the 4 candidates to visit the campuses and meet with the different groups that we want them to meet with and have our interviews, and just all of the maneuvering that had to be scheduled and happen. So thanks, Amy, for orchestrating that.
Thank you, Member Pascal.
She comes through, always comes through. We'll be transitioning into HR, Ms. Picard, as this process continues, which Amy is well aware of. And Jennifer, I've been trying to reach you, let you make sure you know that, but that's where we'll be transitioning as we formalize the entire selection. All right, and again, there's an executive session this morning, and we'll be addressing other items at that time, and it's plainly stated. Other reports. Susan, do you have any other report about ACC? You know what I mean. Anybody else have a report? Seeing no other reports, I guess that covers it. If anybody thinks of something later, put your hand up or wave and we'll come back to it. All right, Dr. Culver, ready for the blast.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We'll have a couple of items this morning, one being the Bighorn Blast, which we always enjoy. And then I'll do a couple of items from the statewide goings on that have been happening. And then Lakin from our financial aid services team will present an update on our cohort default rate. We'd promised the board that once a quarter, we would give you an update. And so Lakin will be providing that today. So we'll just start with that. So the Bighorn Blast.
First up, The college honored the next generation of first responders during a fire science recognition ceremony. Graduates were celebrated for completing rigorous hands-on training designed to prepare them for careers in fire service and emergency response. College leaders say programs like fire science play a critical role in meeting workforce needs across Mohave County and strengthening public safety in the communities they serve. From preparing first responders to welcoming future Bighorns, the Bullhead City campus hosted its annual Bighorn Trek, giving high school and middle school students, along with community members, a first-hand look at college programs and services. Visitors toured facilities, met faculty, and explored degree and certificate options. Organizers say the event helps students picture themselves in college, and they can see how Mohave can support their goals and get them on the path to a bright future. And while future students were exploring campus, student leaders from across the campuses met at the Colorado City campus for a leadership retreat. The trip focused on developing leadership skills, strengthening collaboration, and building connections across the campuses. Organizers say investing in student leadership builds confidence, communication skills, and a stronger college community overall. Back in Bullhead City, students were also celebrating in style. College Days brought a full week of activities to the campus. Students enjoyed a night at Scooters with games, go-karts, and mini golf. And the week wrapped up with a masquerade ball. The Student Activities Council says events like these create opportunities for connection and help students feel engaged beyond the classroom. Meanwhile, in Kingman, Mohave Spirit was on full display. Spirit Week energized the Kingman campus with free movie tickets, a s'mores night, bingo, club rush, and more. Student clubs and campus leaders work together to create a welcoming and fun environment. College officials say building a strong campus culture supports student success and helps create a sense of belonging. The college also continues to expand hands-on workforce learning in the non-degree seeking division. Corporate education students gained practical skills through a short-term hospitality training class designed to meet regional workforce demand. The class focuses on real-world experience and industry readiness, preparing students for careers in service and tourism. These short-term training classes are designed to be flexible and fast, so students get the skills and get on the job. Culinary students recently got an up-close look at professional craftsmanship. They had a rare hands-on learning experience with a chef who is traditionally trained from Cisco. He demonstrated how to break down a slab of beef into professional steak cuts, sharing expert techniques and industry insight. To learn more about the culinary program, head to mohave.edu, then just click All Degrees and Certificates in the middle of the homepage. Then scroll down to Culinary Arts and tap it. In Havasu, the focus shifted from the kitchen to creativity. The campus celebrated Women's History Month with its Women Who Create event. Local female artists showcased their work and shared what inspires them. The event highlighted the impact of women in the arts and encouraged meaningful conversations across the campus and community. And finally, a look at learning beyond the traditional classroom. Community education team members hosted a special presentation focused on milk and dairy science, giving attendees insight into production, nutrition, and industry practices. Events like this reflect the college commitment to lifelong learning and community connection. To get more information about community and corporate education, along with the college's other academic divisions, just head to mohave.edu. In the middle of the page, click Find Your Path. Then you can see all 4 academic divisions and find your area of interest. Then click the one that interests you to start your journey. And don't forget to visit the college online newsroom at mohave.edu/newsroom. That's where you can access all the Bighorn Blast newscasts, as well as the Bighorn Blast podcast. The college website and social media channels are the best way to stay up to date with college news and events. And of course, if you have a story idea, send it to college@mohave.edu.
Thank you, James. It's always a good video for us to watch to see what's going on. You know, I attended the fire science graduation, and every time I attend a graduation or a penning or any kind of service that helps us celebrate students. It really helps to remind me of why we do what we do. So I really hope that you're able to attend some of those recognition ceremonies to help celebrate our students. Governor Hobbs has declared April as Arizona Community College Month. So we will be seeing a lot of stories of interest and success stories coming from James and team, as we always do, celebrating our students and our faculty and our staff and our programs and our partnerships with the community and the impact that we have on the community. So April will be a highlight for us. I hope you're able to follow all the things that James and team puts out, because it's always a pleasure. Couple of other items about legislative affairs in the state. This is the next to the last week of committee work, supposed to be the next to the last week of committee work before everything starts flowing through. A couple of bills of interest to us. One was how radiologic technologists are licensed. And it was specifically what we liked about that bill was it lowered the number of clinical hours that our students have to complete from 1,800 to 1,650, which is good. It helps us to get students completed in a more timely way. I believe our rad tech team and Dr. Weiss were very happy about that one. The tuition waiver for veterans, children of veterans with disabilities, that one's continuing to go through the system. While it is an unfunded mandate at this point, if it goes through, we're happy to be able to serve our students with our existing scholarship funds that we have. And so that's still working its way through the system. Increased funding for Teachers Academy, for Arizona Teachers Academy for community colleges is working its way through the system as well, which we also like to hear as we continue to attract students to our baccalaureate degrees. Which I'm happy to report the numbers of students who are continuing to declare those programs as their majors continue to increase. We currently have 30 students who have declared the human services baccalaureate degree. We have about 20 students who are working their way through the system for the biology degree. The elementary ed is a little bit slower. We have about 10 who have declared that program, more to come. I talked with James yesterday about how we can start strengthening demand for the elementary ed. And also, surprisingly, we haven't even opened the building yet or started the program, but we have 22 students who are working their way through the process for cosmetology. And so while it's not a baccalaureate program, it's still one of those that was high demand in our surveys. So that is very, very promising. So all the growth that we're having and all of the new program development is really paying off in serving our communities and the students who want these programs. Another thing which we just learned about last night, and I cannot wait to share this information with the board, but you may have heard of something called a RED award. It's real estate development, right? And these are if you read the news releases about these are the Academy Awards of real estate development in Arizona. Okay. We were nominated as a finalist for the Advanced Manufacturing Training Center. So what happens is Core Construction, who was the construction company for the project, actually nominates their projects and other municipal projects, K-12 projects, higher ed projects. There are a lot of different, I think over 200 nominations this year for the RED Awards. And so we were nominated as a finalist in the higher ed category for AMTC. And really what this does is it signals that the use of public funds, we were responsible with the use of public funds, that we can deliver projects at a level competitive with Arizona's largest kinds of projects. We were up against a project at Arizona State University which is a building that they were putting together. But last night, we learned that we won. And so Gerald, yes, congratulations to Gerald and Jason and the team and Jolene and the facilities team and the faculty and everybody. And so we won the Red Award for the state of Arizona for higher education. So it's something that we'll be putting out, and James will be sharing with everybody in a news release soon. But Gerald Jones, thanks, Gerald. I don't know if he's listening or not. I don't even know if he's back from Phoenix yet. But he went and accepted the award, and we're just so proud of all the work that's been happening. So I'll stop there and see if there are any questions or comments about the Red Award.
That's awesome. I'm sure
It is awesome.
Agree. Great. We'll look
Very awesome.
in that press release, and then that way our communities will know too.
Absolutely. And just as a reminder, this is one of 4 or 5, I think 4, maybe 5. Don't hold me to that number, of workforce accelerators that was funded through the Arizona Commerce Authority. One of 4. And we received $4.1 million from the Arizona Commerce Authority to help us fund the construction of the building. So yes, Susan, I see your hand. I'm sorry, Julie.
No.
That's your job.
Him also, anybody, that's why I say jump in. I see your hand. Thank you.
I just want to know when we're going to know that we won.
We know now.
Oh, we won now.
We won last night. The Academy Awards ceremony was last night.
Okay. Because
so,
when you said nominated, I assumed we were waiting. So awesome.
Yeah.
Times 10. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was real quick. The nominations came out on March the 7th-ish.
Okay.
And then this event was held last night. And I got a text, and Jolene got a text late yesterday evening from Gerald that said we won with a picture of the award. So
well, let's see the picture.
Oh, that's easier said than done.
It's probably on his screen when you can't pull it up.
It is.
That big smile of his, huh?
No, it's just the award.
Oh,
Can you see that?
Mr. Modest. Oh, yeah. Wow.
And it's hard to see on the white parts, but it says Project of the Year, Higher Education, Mohave College Advanced Manufacturing Training Center.
Awesome. We'll have more recognition when we see it at the next meeting too. We can hold it up or take a picture of them. How's that?
Okay. Absolutely. James will be putting it out too. So
yes. Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
All right. I think, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay. Along with your report and awards, and obviously that is a significant one we will never exceed. But I did notice on social media that the Booster Club has given $200,000 to the sports program. That was this week on social media. So that was pretty exciting too. And I'm sure James, I have something out about that too, but the one you mentioned cannot be excelled. So wonderful. All right.
Yeah, that is so true. So Tremaine, Dr. Saul went to the meeting and accepted the check. We always, we've been told since soccer started last fall that we were going to get that check. And so Medi has come through for us. And
yes.
When Tremaine brought it back, I said, can I touch it? Can I hold it? And it is such, we're so grateful for the Booster Club and their support of everything they do for us.
And Tremaine, thanks for going down. I think they meet at 7 in the morning. So coming from Kingman down there to be on hand was wonderful.
Susan, your hand's still up?
Yep, it is. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who worked with the Boosters Club to raise that contribution. It is appreciated.
Lots of people. That's great. Thank you. All right. So we've heard from you, and now we're going into item 9A, the primary property tax levy proposal. Jolene, did you want to read your preliminary there? Or yeah. To introduce it, whatever you're comfortable with.
Sure. For your consideration, we are asking the board to please vote on truth and taxation increases for the fiscal year 2027.
Okay, and as you can see from the agenda item, we won't be voting on that today. Today's item is only to see if the board wants to bring this forward on the agenda, because if we do, at that time, we would be having the discussion, etc., and deciding whether, yes, we're going to pass that, but would only be after the public meeting. So the timing of this is such, because of the statute, it has to be discussed today to say, yes, we're at least interested in discussing this and considering this, so that the appropriate public hearing can be held in April to meet all of these deadlines we have. So is that real clear? Right now, we're looking to see if we want to bring it forward. We're not deciding for sure, yes or no, we are going to pass that. So I'm looking for a motion, please. Not seeing any board members wanting to move this forward and consider having a TNT hearing so that we can further this proposal. Okay, well, I would like to recommend that this be put on a future agenda and that we hold a TNT hearing so that we can determine whether or not the board will accept going forward. So that's my motion, and if no one else wants to make the motion, then the chair will do that. And there's no second on that motion?
I wasn't sure if you were asking for one. I'll second that.
I had been asking
Madam
for
Chair.
one, but nothing came forward. If you would like to make the motion, that's preferred over the chair making the motion. But I have made a motion, so would anybody like to second
Oh,
that?
I said I would second it.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. I think it picked up your voice after you started. So we have a motion and a second to have this as a consideration for a future agenda item. And we'll take a vote. All those in favor of considering it? Aye.
Madam Chair, I just want to make sure you have changed it to, could you repeat again what you actually made a motion for?
Yeah.
So I understand, thanks.
Proposing a 6% increase in the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27. That does not mean today, if we vote yes, we want to consider it. It does not mean that the final determination will be made. We would have a public hearing first. We do not go ahead and decide we're going to do something without a public hearing. And we have not discussed this individually because we don't do that, except when we're all together like this. So the question is, do we want to carry this proposal forth? And Amy, you got my wording. Maybe I didn't word it correctly. I'd certainly appreciate anything you might have, since I think maybe you and I, well, no, Susan, weren't you here for a TNT before? And Ashley, you would have been. Yeah, this is your second term. You have your hand up, Ashley?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I thought I had heard your motion saying that you were recommending that we place the truth and taxation hearing on a future agenda for action, and that we have a hearing.
Okay, that's because I was anticipating someone else making a motion, so I didn't draft one out. The recommendation, as you can see in the packet, is that the district governing board propose a 6% increase of the district's primary property tax levy. So the determination, it isn't that today we would decide, yes, we're going to do that, let's go. The determination is that we are proposing that, and it will be on a future agenda to determine whether we're going to do that, so that in fact, there can be a public hearing. If we decided, yes, we're going to do this hands down today, there would be no purpose in having a public hearing afterwards, because we wouldn't hear what people said. Amy, can
Madam
you?
Chair, I think that's what I'm sorry if it didn't come through clearly. I think that's what you had said. That's what your motion was, and I think that's what I had just said. I heard you say that the recommendation is to have on a future agenda item a decision around a truth in taxation and have a hearing.
Okay, and I'm really glad you're helping me with this, Ashley. Amy, can you help me put the mainstream in? Because I want the calendar to be correct and I want the process to be correct. And we haven't done this for a considerable amount of time. I think I was probably chair the last time we did it, maybe 19. So
Yes, Madam Chair, again, we cannot publicly notice a hearing about a levy increase proposal without the percentage information.
Okay.
Because that's the proposal of the board. Again, we are still just talking about the proposal for a levy increase.
Okay.
The decision about whether the board raises the levy or not will be in April or May. After we hold the hearing.
Okay.
But we cannot invite the public to a hearing about some miscellaneous amount of money.
Gotcha. All right. So
can we just get the motion straight? So we know how what we're voting on, please, because I'm not clear on what the motion is.
That's what we're working.
Thank you.
Oh, Diane, thank you. And Ashley, again, thank you for helping me with this. So we are looking for a motion to propose a 6% increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27. Is there a motion to that effect? Okay, I will make a motion that the district governing board propose a 6% increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27. Is there a second to that motion? Hearing none?
Can we combine that and the second recommendation so that we're proposing it and we're directing staff to schedule a hearing?
Yes, I would be happy to do that. Would you like to make that motion or would you like me to reword it? And if so, I need some more water.
I need to interject here. I would object to that, Ashley. And also, Dr. Bear, the way you made the recommendation, you omitted the words the administration's recommendation. It is not the board's recommendation to raise the property tax levy by 6%. So,
Susan, for pointing that out. I would welcome a motion from one of you because I know the board's allowed to make a motion, but in the past, I've always refrained from doing that, thinking it should be coming forth from someone other than the chair. So is there anyone that would like to make a motion that might be more comfortable? I withdraw my current motion. Ashley, would you like to try drafting one here for us today? Susan or Diane, any of you?
Sure, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
I make a motion that the board accepts the administration's recommendation that the board propose a 6% increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27, and that the board directs staff to schedule a truth and taxation hearing for 9 a.m. on April 17th, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second to Ashley's?
I need to object to that.
Okay, wait a minute, Susan. First, we have to determine if the motion's going forward, and your objection would appear in your vote. Okay.
But it's to the motion. You're asking me to combine two separate thoughts for two separate actions, one of which may require that I disregard Arizona statute. I think the statute piece needs to be made a motion and voted on specifically, not in conjunction with an administration's recommendation.
Could I offer a suggestion, Madam?
Please, do.
Yeah. Might it be that you, using Ashley's words, we accept the administration's proposal and place it on a future agenda for discussion?
Again, I want to make it really clear that it is not my intent to confound the issue. My intent is to make sure we address the fact that a decision to do this, to actually adopt it, has not been made. And I think that's real clear in what Ashley said. She's suggesting, would you like to reread that for me, Amy, please, or for all of us, please?
I was going to wait for the transcript, but it was, it was to accept administration's recommendation of a 6% proposal and to schedule the hearing.
Is that correct, Ashley? Is that what you had in mind?
Yes, and I can withdraw my motion if it's going to stall us from moving forward. And just, if I may, Madam Chair, explain, my motion is because my reason for combining the two actions in my motion was because I don't feel comfortable making a motion without ensuring that there's a hearing as part of the process.
Well, I would suggest we go ahead and vote on Ashley's motion. And then if it doesn't pass, then we'll rework this. All right, so we have a motion, and Amy, once again, do you want to read it again, please?
The motion was to accept the district's recommendation of a 6% proposed increase to the levy and schedule the hearing for 9 a.m. on April 17th.
All right. Do we have a second for that motion? I will second the motion. Ready for the vote? Or would you like more discussion? Okay, ready for the vote. Let's take a roll call vote, Amy.
Sure. Bear?
Yes.
Pascal?
Yes.
McAlpine?
No, and I'd like the record to show that I object to the way it's been joined, and that I obviously would honor our Arizona statutes that require a truth and taxation hearing had the recommendation been separated.
Singer?
No.
We have a split vote without a fifth member.
Okay, well, I would encourage, when is Miss Bradley going to be available for this meeting? That's almost over.
I was not informed of when Miss Bradley would be attending other than as soon as possible.
Okay. Well, the motion did not pass, so we will not be able to carry this forward. Time-wise, my understanding is that the T&T hearing would need to be in April. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Then I ask that this item be re-agendized in a public meeting next Friday, and we are meeting at 9 a.m. to discuss and select a president. So time-wise, either before or after, separate, of course, from that business. So I would ask that that be put together for a public, as a public meeting item agenda, and we'll hold another public meeting.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'm trying to be as succinct and polite as possible. We have spent a significant amount of time on this. There does not appear to be more than a split decision right now, and I object to adding more to our workload next week when we need to focus on our future president. And so I just want to have the record show that I do not support that recommendation.
All right, I appreciate and you have been polite, Susan. There's no problem with your courtesy. My concern obviously is that in order to consider this item, we absolutely need to have a public hearing. Minds are not made up. I don't know about your minds, but my mind's not made up. I would want to have the public's input and a hearing on that before we actually vote to go ahead and adopt the fact that we're going to do that. Right now, I would like to have it under consideration so that we can at least have the public hearing. And that's the purpose of today's efforts. Anybody else? Diane, did you have something you'd like to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ashley, anything else from you?
No, I'm not sure I can. Not sure what we're discussing.
We were discussing, Susan was suggesting that she was not interested or not supporting the idea of a public meeting in next Friday. So that might be not in attendance. I'm still going to ask that we have that as an agenda item. It shouldn't take too long, and it will probably be after the presidential selection committee. So Amy, are you on board with that? Oh, yes, Diane?
Yeah, so does Susan want to make a motion to table this whole question?
I don't know that we'd be tabling it. Right now, it didn't pass, so there's no.
But table even taking it forward.
Because my sense is that that's a tie vote at the moment. I'm sorry, Diane.
No, my sense is that there's no interest in moving this forward. That's my sense. So I'm just asking if Susan wants to make a motion and then we can vote on that. So just a suggestion or a question.
I think that's a good suggestion because I have the same feeling that you have, Dr. Singer. So my motion is that we table this discussion and this recommendation.
And what do you think that accomplishes? Let's make sure we're all on the same page by tabling it. What do you mean, Susan? What do you
I am like Dr. Singer in that I don't feel that there is a tremendous amount of support and or enthusiasm for this. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Maybe put a time limit, Susan, like table it until next year or whatever. I mean, perhaps that would be helpful.
Okay, I'm happy to amend that. Table it until fiscal year 2028 once we have hired a new president.
Well, by tabling a motion, I think we don't follow Roberts, which we all know, but I have attended that parliamentary workshop every single year, and tabling it means it's just going to come up another time, and I don't think we can leave this that open. So if you wanted to move that, well, we've already shown that it's not going forward. So once again, we would either have a meeting next week or within a certain time frame so that we can meet the April deadline for publication of a public hearing. And what is that deadline, Amy? When do we have to decide that? Put you on the, I'm sorry.
Sorry, legally, the hearing can happen as long as it happens before you approve the budget, because this number, the tax levy number, is part of the CCD forms. So we cannot file a budget for next year without the amount that we're going to levy on that document. So we can work it back from there, but it would probably mean an amended budget at some point in time because it would be very late in the game. We wouldn't have the appropriate information to plan our expenses for fiscal year 27.
So,
Amy?
may I?
There's so many different timelines, and I'm really thankful to you, Amy, for having those. My concern is that an issue of this import should be determined by a 5-member board, not a 4-member quorum. And Susan, I see your hand. I'm sorry, I just saw it. So that's my concern or consideration. And I think all these years when we've had budget adoption, we've had members that show up late for the meeting right after the budget adoption because perhaps they didn't want to vote on the budget, and not a comfortable thing for any of us. And we've all assumed the responsibility of doing this. And I'm not chastising Nicole for not being here today, but I'm sure she intends to be. But on the other hand, we need to have 5 members decide this. So there's a definitive rejection of this proposal or not. And we don't have 5 members today. So Susan, I'm sorry, again.
Diane first.
So what I'm hearing from Susan, and clarify, Susan, is that she wants to hold this whole conversation about a tax increase until 28, when we have a new president and at a later time. And if that is her intent, I will second her motion. And that is I will understand an action that we have to vote on that motion now that it's been seconded. So I'm just throwing that out there, Susan.
I was just going to ask Amy if she could call Nicole. Otherwise, let's go into executive session and hope that she calls back.
Back
comes.
into general.
Again, I was going to suggest that if we postpone this agenda item until after the executive session, Ms. Bradley might be with us. We have also skipped the quarterly cohort default rate, which would probably bring us to 10:30.
So Susan made a motion and I seconded it. Don't we have to take an action now?
No, Susan didn't make a motion. She wanted us
No, I did. I made a motion.
You suggested we table this, Susan. By tabling it,
then Diane mentioned to me that I should make a motion, which I did, and she seconded.
And would you please read your motion to us, Susan, as you see it?
I said it, I'm sorry, I didn't write it, but I believe my motion said that I move that we, I did use the word table, so I will change that. I move that we consider this proposal after we have hired a new president in fiscal year 2028. And Diane seconded that.
Well, let's have her second it because she actually seconded something else. Diane or Ashley, are you looking to second that?
I did second it.
Well, you didn't. She just reread it. And
okay, I seconded it.
Thank you. All right. Any further discussion before we vote? Roll call vote on Susan's motion and Diane's second.
Yep. Bear.
No.
McAlpine.
Yes.
Pascal.
No.
Singer.
Yes.
Okay, motion fails. At this time, we're going to go ahead with our agenda. We will table the item, and then because our agenda will still be open, it can come back up at a later time in today's agenda, and that would be after the executive session. We will be returning to general session anyway. So I am, as chair, tabling the motion for item, here we go, 9A and B, and we will pull it back on the table again later this morning. All right, let's move on. Is it 10:30? Okay, our attorney's going to meet with us at 10:30. We have a scheduled appointment, so we'll vacate wherever we are at that time.
So, Madam Chair, we have Lakin, who is ready to present the cohort default rate information. And Lakin, as you may have just heard, they have to go into executive session at 10:30. So we have about 15 or so minutes. Thank you, Lakin.
Great. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I hope you can all hear me okay. I will make this quick. So to refresh, the cohort default rate is when, okay. Cohort default rate is when borrowers who enter repayment within a given fiscal year default on their loans within a 3-year period of when they entered repayment. This topic is important as both the borrower and our school face serious consequences if the default rates rise. The loan repayment lifecycle starts when a student separates from the school due to either graduation or dropping below half-time enrollment. At that point, their in-school deferment ends and their grace period begins. During the 6-month grace period, borrowers are not required to make payments. However, interest may continue to accrue on their loan, depending on if they borrowed subsidized or unsubsidized loans. On the first day after the grace period ends, repayment officially begins and their first monthly payment is due. Here we've illustrated how the 3-year cohort default rate measurement window works. Each fiscal year cohort begins when borrowers enter repayment. That is considered year 1. Defaults that occur in year 2 and year 3 are attributed back to that original cohort year. So, for example, borrowers who enter repayment in FY23 are tracked through the end of FY26. Any defaults during that 3-year window count toward the FY23 cohort default rate. The important takeaway is that today's repayment behavior affects our reported rate for the next 3 fiscal years. The 2023 cohort includes borrowers who entered repayment between October 1st, 2022 and September 30th, 2023. As you can see, we had a total of 198 borrowers and 22 defaults. We've also started to take a look at the average loan balance and requests for each fiscal year. We should receive the draft 2023 CDR by the end of this month and the official in September of this year. The 2024 cohort covers borrowers who entered repayment between October 1st, 2023 and September 30th, 2024. Based on our current numbers, our CDR is at 13.41% and projected to be 16.67%. The 2025 cohort covers borrowers who entered repayment between October 1st, 2024 and September 30th, 2025. This cohort is cause for some concern. As you can see, our current CDR is already sitting at 5.73% and projected to be 31.72%. However, since making these slides, the projection has decreased to 25.55%. The 2026 cohort covers borrowers who entered repayment between October 1st, 2025 and September 30th, 2026. The projected 3-year CDR is a bit concerning. However, this cohort is still building until September 30th. Please be aware that it does state 25 delinquencies and not 25 defaults. However, if all 25 of these borrowers were to default, with these numbers, we would be at 30%. In the screenshot, you can see the projection is 73.17%. It's currently down to 61.18%, and that those numbers are still inaccurate since it's still building. While we are focusing our efforts on bringing these numbers down, I also want to point out that our ECMC representative has said that they are predicting that FY25 and FY26 will follow the same trend as FY24. Another thing I did want to point out is the Department of Ed released a non-payment rate data spreadsheet that provides the percentage of direct loan borrowers on an institutional basis who entered repayment between January of 2020 and May of 2025 and whose federal student loans were more than 90 days delinquent. Over 1,800 institutions have non-payment rates at or exceeding 25%, and ours is listed at 21%. Though the non-payment rate differs from the official CDR calculation, such rates are indicative of both institutions' success in counseling borrowers on the impact and potential consequences associated with their student loan debt, as well as to the extent to which institutions may be at risk of losing access to federal student aid due to high CDRs in the future. That concludes it, and we'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Lakin. And good graphs and tables, the pieces I can see. Questions, people?
I have
Yes.
a question, and I know it's obviously a development in progress, but I heard that all of the federal funding for education and scholarships and loans are going to be moved out of Department of Education into
It's collection of defaults into Treasury.
into Treasury. Thank you.
So it's collection of defaults. Not everything has been decided to be moved yet.
Okay.
So if
yeah.
a student defaults, the Treasury Department would take over the collection.
Okay. I heard it a little differently this morning, but good, because that's obviously going to make a huge amount of difference for our staff. And again, I understand that these terms and conditions about all of it almost change on a pretty routine basis, that they're always running catch up. So thank you for everything that you're doing to make sure our default rate stays low. I know it's not an easy situation.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, totally agree. Thank you, Member McAlpine. Lakin and team do a wonderful job staying on top of this. And it's always good news to hear that our 25 and 26 cohorts appear to be, when it's all said and done, close to what the 23 and 24 cohorts will perform. So that's always good to hear.
Right. Any other questions or comments for Lakin or anyone else that has something about this? I'm not seeing everyone now, so I can't see hands somehow because of this iPad. I tried to do a split screen so I could get back over to the agenda. So if I don't see your hand, it's just, you all disappeared on me. Okay. Anybody else? Just shout out because I'm only going to hear you, not see you. Okay. Tim, and you'll interrupt me hopefully if I'm out of sequence because I'm looking again at agenda on another page. After you did the blast, I was thinking then you were down on item Z, the current events, but as scrolling back and forth, I can see that's not what happened at all. And that's how Lakin, who was obviously very patient, was overlooked. I went from A to B, I think, and then to D. So where we were talking about B and you were talking about legislation. So I think I just dropped down to D.
Yeah, I think it's an easy mistake to make to do
well,
it.
especially when you're looking at two screens.
Yeah, right.
Where are we with you? A, B, C, D. We just
I think we're good with the president's report. So
okay. So
Madam Chair,
please.
I will just let you know that the other participant in the executive session has arrived.
Okay.
In the backstage, but we have another 6 minutes.
Okay, so can you mean Nicole has arrived, Miss Bradley? Is that what you're saying, or do you mean our other?
Council has arrived.
Okay.
And Madam Chair, Member Bradley just texted me, and she is ready to join. And so, Amy, she wants the link sent to her quickly, please. Yep. Because she's driving from the other meeting and she's almost to her location.
You career people are also tuned in. The attorney had assured me when we set 10:30, I said that should be a logical time and we can vacate and come back to our regular agenda. So if she's not quite yet ready to come on, we might just wait till 10:30. We can all take a break, get our water, whatever. And then at 10:30, start with the executive session. And then we will return to the regular agenda. And when we look at your agenda, we will return to that item that has not yet been determined, and I will put it back out on the table. And that would be item 11A. And then we can again address that before we adjourn today, which would be a time saver for, as Susan mentioned, we'll be busy next week. So if that all makes sense to everybody, let's take a recess till 10:30.
Madam Chair,
Please.
did you want a motion now to go into executive session or when we return?
We can't start early. You can only start late. You can't start early.
Well,
so we have
okay,
to
so when we return from our break.
Yes, exactly. Thanks for asking. And I'll try to get all of you back on my screen now while you're gone. Thanks. Recess. Okay, we're going to reconvene the regular meeting after our executive session, and I will accept a motion.
I will make a motion to reconvene the executive session. I'm sorry, to reconvene the regular session.
Seconded.
Second.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, back we go. All those in favor, yep.
Aye.
We all want to do that. Okay. Ready for a motion on the executive session discussion?
I would like to make a motion that we confirmed the direction given to the attorney regarding potential presidential contracts.
Someone
like Diane seconded.
I'll second, yeah.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, before we adjourn, I'd like to go back to the item that has been tabled. And that would be item, here we go, 11A, I'm sorry, 11A. I've got to go get my water, so continue someone with, we discussed earlier, Nicole, we didn't have 5 members, and I would like to bring this back for discussion today. So we had a split vote, so that's why it wasn't determined. So we're looking again for a motion on item 11A. Do we have anything forthcoming?
So I believe you guys originally were looking for just a motion to, am I correct? I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
6% and then, or I mean, where did we leave off? I wasn't there obviously. So where are we at with it all? Like briefly, not a full.
What we have in so far? Amy?
Yep.
Can you bring us back up to speed? I'm sorry, I had to.
I can. So we had a motion to consider not to propose 6%. That motion split. We had a motion to consider not considering raising the levy and not having a hearing. That also split. I can go back and check the transcript. There were several others.
Those are the only 2 motions, though. The only thing we only had 2 votes, though.
2 votes, you're right.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out that though the administration recommended 6%, we do have a range of percentages. If someone had an interest in proposing something other than 6%, or if you want to go back and revisit the original recommendation. But that's what we're voting on, is whether or not we're going to recommend the administration's proposal and or a different proposal if you prefer, so that we can go ahead and schedule the T&T hearing, which is the whole crux of this challenge.
So just so we're clear, the two failed, so now we're back to start to look forward with another motion.
Correct, to address A and B.
And the first motion that failed was, again, Amy, failed altogether?
It was tied 2-2. So we.
No, but what was
waited
the
for your
motion?
Vote.
Yeah,
The
I get
motion, the
both were tied.
recommendation was, because I'm not making it as a motion, the recommendation that was split. The first one, the administration's recommendation is that the district governing board propose a 6% increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal 2027. That was split 2-2. So whether we go back to that and then revote it, it's up to Julie and the other board members, because then the separate one under A and B was then if we vote yes to A, then we vote for the truth and taxation hearing. If we vote no as a majority, then we don't do B. Does that make sense?
And there was a good, healthy conversation, and everyone, of course, as always, was pleasant and courteous and polite. There just is a different feeling from obviously two people. So where we would be now, Nicole, is if we're going to consider having a TNT, we need to go ahead and have a proposal under item 9A, and it doesn't have to say the administration's recommendation. It can just say the governing board proposes or recommends or has a motion to propose a blank % increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27.
So regardless, I mean, I don't know, maybe we can have somebody answer this. Do we have to agree to it up front and then go to hearing, or do we, I mean, that's, I guess, my question.
If I may, so
Dr. Culver, yeah.
In Appendix 4, A and B, we provided a range. Do nothing, 2%, 4%, 6%, 8%. You'll notice, because we haven't done this since 2018, the maximum amount, allowable amount, is about almost 15%, 14.8 something, right? And this is in Appendix 4A, I believe. It's a table. And so we provided the options of 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, or 14. We, because we've not done it since 2018, the reason we proposed 6% is because it's in the middle. And the other issue that you have been talking about is waiting on the new president. If you wait for the new president, you're going to continue to disadvantage the budget in future years. If 6% is the problem, the administration can certainly look at something lower, 6%, so we can get back on track, because you will certainly disadvantage a new president coming in. You will certainly do that if you decide to do nothing, right? And so if you need the administration to recommend 4%, and if that makes you feel better about the proposal, that is perfectly fine. We went to the middle. We went to the middle because we need to get back on track. The other community colleges in the state do this regularly without question. And there are a zillion reasons we can talk about with respect to why we should be doing this. One of them is the compensation package, and the benefits proposal that we're going to get this year is going to be way higher due to HR1. And we are going to have to pay a lot more in benefits than we have had in previous years. The compensation package this year is my main heartfelt issue, because we have employees who are still below the poverty line, in their pays, and we need to bring them up. And I love that Dr. Singer is a proponent of that. We have other things that are going on. And if you delay this one more year, that none of those things are going to get better. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like an alarmist, but you're putting me in a position of having to cut something. And that's my job. That's what you hired me to do, at least this year. But you're putting the new president at a disadvantage if you don't do something. And I will stop with my passionate statement. But that's the position we are in if you do nothing.
And I want to remind everybody, the first year we did nothing. Stacy was brand new, completely new way to finance revenue structure to him because he came from another state, A. But B, most importantly, we had COVID then. So for a couple of years, we took a recess. And I hate to blame everything on COVID, but we took a recess from looking at this because everybody was stressed over that. Plus, we knew there were, other ways that at that time, money's coming in that we'd never had before and that we never have since because of COVID. And so everyone all over the country that worked for, and within the state of Arizona, if you check with your colleagues, I did the last time I went to this AACCT thing in Phoenix, and they said, well, of course we do it every year. And I think if you go online and check and you look at the TNT hearings that were held by other government agencies as well as colleges last year for the current fiscal year, throughout our county, Maricopa, I can't even tell you how many different entities, because I looked and there's just lots of them. It's not unusual. This isn't like throwing something out there to get more money. We just never will recoup it. We've stopped recouping it after the second year out of COVID, and it's never come back.
And it won't come back because the primary source of revenue for the college is property taxes. The state's funding model dictates that. It's not something that we're allowed to change. We get less than $3 million a year from the state. Less than $3 million. It's less than 5% of our revenue budget. The only revenue stream which you have impact on as the decision makers for this district is the property tax revenue. That is the only one you have impact on. It is the only one that will help us to continue to grow. If we don't do something, the budget this year will reflect flat or negative growth. That is exactly where we are. Susan, I'm sorry, Julie. Susan's had her hand up.
Oh, Diane too.
Yep, I'm going to defer to Diane and let her speak first, and then I do have something to say.
So 2 points, and I don't know if this is the appropriate place to make comments in general about, we're having a discussion about this item. But my question to Tim, if we don't vote for this, it doesn't mean we can't entertain raises for staff. It doesn't mean we can't do that. It just means that if we do it, it's tighter.
Very tighter.
Okay.
We will always entertain. We have an employee compensation team task force which advises us, and we will always entertain pay raises and other sorts of compensation packages. Yeah, Jolene, just a second. We will always entertain those things. We will always entertain new position requests. We will always entertain everything, bringing some of our employees above those federal poverty guidelines. We will entertain everything, but not everything will be put into the budget because we will not have the revenue. I cannot say this any more strongly. The revenue stream which you can impact is property taxes. No other revenue stream is going to grow big enough in order for us to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish, whether it's compensation package, increased costs and inflation that's everybody's experiencing, whether it's increased costs in growth for new programs, new faculty, new facilities, renovations, deferred maintenance. All of that is killing us right now because, and every year we come in with a balanced budget because that's our job. It's the law. And that's what you need us to do. But at this particular point, we will have to let something go or not do something that allows us to continue to grow.
Okay,
And
thank you. So
if
my
growth,
second-
if growth is what you want as a board, this will be a flat year.
Okay, so my second point here, and the second thing, and it really goes to principle. The state legislature needs to pony up and fund education and fund community colleges. It's not right that they put us in a situation where we, the board, have to stick it to the taxpayer around the other side because they refuse to take responsibility to fully fund education. And
I hear you.
that is just a personal principle for me.
I hear you, but with all
And
due
that's
respect,
my concern is that when we take a position where we do their job for them, there's no reason for them to do their job. And that is my issue with the whole scenario. So I just want to throw that out there.
Right.
Just putting it out there. Thank
and
you.
they give you the right to
To
mitigate
fix
that.
their problem.
Yes, that's been eternal, but today we need to resolve what we are going to do, what our responsibility is to do. I want to point out to all of us that we really don't have a discussion till we have a motion, because right now we're just sharing all of our thoughts, which we all value each other's thoughts. So I would suggest we either see if a motion is going to bring something forward, and if it is, then definitely have this discussion. That's the purpose of discussion. And I see Susan has a hand, and Nicole, also known as Amy, and she's in a separate name again today, has a hand. So I think that would be best to go ahead and see if one of the five of us has a motion to carry this proposal forward. Is there a motion? Okay, then the chair will make a motion that the district governing board propose a 4% increase of the district's primary property tax levy for fiscal year 27. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you. We have ready for the vote. Roll call vote, please. Amy?
Bear,
Yes?
Bratley,
No.
You're voting?
McAlpine,
No.
Okay.
Pascal,
Yes.
Singer,
Can't see her. Oh, there she is. Sorry.
We can't hear you, Diane.
Did she
Oh,
hear?
I'm sorry. No.
All right. So my motion fails 3-2. Are there any other motions concerning this item to come forth?
I have a question.
Okay, please.
Going back to my original question when I had started, and I don't know who can answer this.
Tim.
Do we have to agree to pass any sort of percentage, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, before it goes to a hearing? That's my first question.
Tim, my feeling would be, and you please jump in, but if you're going to have a hearing, it has to post what you're going to be hearing on. So
That's correct. Else you can't just say, come and tell us about it, and maybe we'll find a number for you at this time.
Yeah.
My second question. So if we vote on any percentage today, it passes and it's implemented no matter the hearing outcome.
No.
Yes or no?
No.
The percentage today will be the proposed percentage. You will have the hearing, and then you will have an action item with this whole conversation again.
Perfect.
The only conversation you can't have after the hearing is it being more than what we published in the paper.
Okay,
But it could be less than what we published in the paper. It could be not at all.
okay.
Again, we are not deciding to raise the levy today. We are putting a proposal in front of the taxpayers, and we have to tell the taxpayers what amount that
Our
proposal
intention
is. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to also say, if I was afforded the opportunity to finish that and ask that question before the motion, Dr. Bear, I would have voted yes.
Okay.
So
That-
now where are we at?
So you can make a motion, Nicole, from the five of us. And again, as Amy said, it can return to the original recommendation, which I understood you're traveling. I'm not signing that, but that didn't pass. My original motion was for 6%. If the floor, someone of us makes a motion, it can say, as Amy just pointed out, it can say 8%. And it's just so that it can always be less when we bring this item, I'm sorry, for vote after the public hearing. It just cannot be increased. So would you like to make a motion for whatever number you plug in, please?
I would like, what was the last one you just made, Dr. Bear?
I made 4%. The original recommendation, which I made earlier today, was for 6%.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion at the 3%.
3%?
Mm-hmm. Versus in the middle, yeah.
Okay. We have a motion for 3%. Is there a second to that motion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Just so, Nicole, your motion is to propose a tax, that there is an agenda item put on our next meeting that we propose a tax, or I'm sorry, that we propose a tax levy of 3%. And that be on our next agenda.
No, that wouldn't not be on our next agenda. We want to determine today if we're going to have a motion for any number that can be
then move forward,
not exceeded, so that we can.
Well, I'm sorry, I said the next step would have to happen too, but
public.
That's I just want to be clear that in our language that we are not taking any action today on that. I just wanted to complete the.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ashley.
Yeah, okay, great. I'll second that.
Okay, the motion is, Amy, would you read it again, please? I'm totally out.
The motion is to propose a tax levy increase of 3%.
Thank you. And Ashley, you seconded that. Okay, thanks. Great. Roll call, please, Amy.
Bear.
Yes.
Bratley.
Yes.
McAlpine.
No.
Pascal.
Yes.
Singer.
Diane, you were muted, but I think you said no.
I said no. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
3-2, motion passes. The next item is item B, 11B. And there's a recommendation that the board directs staff to schedule a truth in taxation hearing for 9 a.m. on April 17th and notice it according to the statutes, publications, all sorts of things that Amy's in charge of. Is there a motion to do that?
I have a question. We have to have a hearing because we said we would do, yeah, okay. So I'll move that we have a hearing.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And seconded by Nicole. Thumbs up or hand up or all those in favor?
Roll call.
Okay. Roll call, fine. Somebody wants roll call. Go ahead, Amy. Roll call.
Bear.
Yes.
Bratley.
Yes.
McAlpine.
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Singer.
Yes.
Okay, 5-0. And we are back now to our next meeting. Have I missed anything, please? Anybody or Amy, if you think, oh, she skipped that section. Remember, I'm scrolling, so don't hesitate to tell me. All right. The next regular meeting of the Mohave County Community College District Governing Board will be held April 17, originating from the Neal Campus, Kingman at 9 a.m. Okay. Thank you all. Have a great weekend and won't see you till after. Oh, I'll see you next week.
Thursday.
See you
Thursday.
before Easter. I was thinking. Yeah.
Thank
See
you.
at 8:30.
Bye, everybody.
Ready? Adios.